Hi, everyone. Welcome back to Life After Sunday, the Midweek Mic. This is episode 22, and today we're going to talk about the power of testimony.
Yeah, today's podcast will be based off of Sunday. Sunday's message had a testimony in it, and it's not our testimony to share.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to talk about it, and it was Matthew that spoke that day. And
But you'll have to wait to hear. You can listen to it now, but we want to have him on for a Testimony Tuesday sometimes.
So he's actually going to share the message himself. But so I just wanted to talk about testimony and why it's so important. I think it's the most powerful, sometimes even more than just messages that are spoken at the pulpit. I think it's just because it is somebody talking about real lived experiences with God.
And it's always very heartfelt, and it's usually sharing in the struggle with somebody and seeing them overcome something by the grace of God. So seeing that power move in their lives just is always really touching and really moving.
And so I wanted to talk about testimony today because I feel like people say, oh, I don't have testimony, but everybody has a testimony.
You're right.
Your story, it matters. It's how God uses you and why you shouldn't stay silent.
Yeah.
It will rob a breakthrough for somebody else. So I think testimonies are very important for us to talk about today. So that's what we're going to go into.
Yeah.
Why do testimonies matter? What do you think?
I think because I think that's all a part of God's design, where we're allowed to walk through these trials because we become stronger through it, but then also we have a story to tell after to help someone else through that experience. So when we talk about these things, it helps everybody overcome it. Yeah. And I have a scripture to share also about that.
Go ahead.
Revelation 12:11 says, "And they have defeated him by the blood of the Lamb and by their testimony." So the him it's talking about is the accuser, it's Satan. So how do we defeat Satan? Sharing their testimony.
Yeah. So I was thinking of, how important testimonies are based off of 3 bullet points. I have it written down because I actually prepared this time. So we have testimonies, they help break shame. Matt mentioned that today or Sunday. He mentioned that about breaking shame through his testimony, that every time he does it, he feels more freedom.
Yeah.
And I think it's the enemy works in secrecy. He wants you to stay back.
It's always that isolation. Like, I'm the only one dealing with this, so I'm afraid to talk about it. I'm embarrassed to talk about it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all part of the plan.
So as you talk about it, it becomes weaker and weaker.
Sure.
Like the shame becomes weaker and weaker. It's more out in the light.
Yeah, you're right.
And so God is light, and he wants to bring light into those areas that we don't want anybody to know.
Yeah.
And the shame comes, don't want to give too much of his story away, but sometimes it's not it's not something that we've done.
Yeah.
It's something that's done to us that we feel shame about.
Sure.
And it could be things that we've done. And it says to confess our sins one to another. I think it's so important is because as we confess, we break the chains of shame off of those things that I've done. And when we say sin too, I think a lot of people think of those nasty things out there, and sin is nasty, but I remember my CEF days where I would go around in child evangelism fellowship, and one of the things they liked us to say was sin is anything that keeps you away from God. So again, if that shame is put on you by nothing that you've done, it's still
keeping you
something
from God.
that you need to confess to somebody.
Yeah.
I know in our own lives, it's like the things that we've talked to on this podcast, as I speak about it, as I get personal on here, it is us breaking the shame of what we're going through.
Sure. And just normalizing the struggle, like that everybody has something that they went through, and it's okay to talk about how hard it was.
Yeah, so it helps you, but it also helps somebody not feel alone in the situation.
Yeah.
One of the ways that, back to the Bible, is the woman at the well. She's there, and God's bringing up all these things from her past. And she goes off and she tells everybody, she says, "Come and see a man who told me everything I've ever done."
Yeah.
She was excited about it. She's going off and saying,
I always thought that was weird.
See this man who's knew everything that I've done, all
Yeah.
the shame that I've done, all the things that I've had in my life that's kept me down. Come and see him, because God entered into her life
Right in the mess.
and he broke the shame off from what she's done. So she was saying, I used to do all these things, but now I'm a free person.
Yeah.
I'm a woman.
Like he knew about it and still chose me and still loves me. Yeah.
And when she did that, the Samaritans were amazed and they came and listened. So it helps break off shame.
Yeah.
It also helps, it turns the pain that we've gone through in our lives, and it gives us a purpose for it.
Absolutely.
There are things through my life that I'm like, why did that happen? Why did I have to go through that? There are things in Matt's story too. It's just like, why?
Yeah.
And I think everybody can relate to that. You go through things and you're like, why am I going through this? And it's not until you actually go through it that you realize God was in there this whole entire time, and he has a story that will free somebody else.
Yeah.
It brings us closer to him, and it brings us closer to each other.
You can really walk beside somebody when you've experienced that similar pain.
Yeah.
And help them get through that. Yeah.
So we have Paul's story. He used that a lot in his ministry. He talked about his own personal struggles with trying to fight with the flesh and trying to stay with the spirit. But I think another good example would be Joseph, when he says, what you meant for evil, good.
Yep.
So that's in these situations, is there's evil that was done to us, or there's evil that's in our lives. And when we turn it over to God, he turns it into something that's good and beautiful.
And I think if you can think of that while you're walking through something, like picture the other side and think, man, this is going to be a good story later. Wait till God redeems this and I can tell people about it later. It just changes your perspective.
Yeah.
You're focusing on the kingdom and what good can come from
It's trusting God through that situation. Yeah. And the way that you do is you probably go back on somebody else's testimony. You're like, they've done that.
You're like, look what he did for them. He can do it again.
It's like what your breakthrough was, what you've experienced is now somebody's expectation as they walk through
and
it.
Even for you, as you share your testimony, it's a reminder to you of how faithful God has been. Look how he carried me this far. Like, I know it's going to be fine.
Throughout the Bible, I've said, remember.
Yeah.
Remember what he's done already.
Yep.
The story I pointed back to, the purpose and the pain. John chapter 9, verse 24. So for the second time they called, and the man who had been blind, and told him, God should get the glory for this, because we know this man, Jesus, is a sinner. So in this moment, there's this man, he's been blind since birth. And it says in here that it wasn't anything that his parents had done. It's not anything that he would done, or he did. It was something to bring glory to God. And so Jesus does this. And then you have the Pharisees who find out, and they keep questioning this man. And so this is the second time they've asked, and he keeps saying it's Jesus. And so they said that God should be getting the glory and Jesus is a sinner. And the man says, I don't know whether he's a sinner, the man replied, but I know this. I was blind, and now I can see. I just love that. Like, he was like, I don't know what you're talking about.
But this huge thing just
but
happened.
I know what I experienced.
I was one way, and now I'm another way. Yeah.
Yeah. I was blind, but now I can see.
Yeah.
And if you're calling that man a sinner, and he did this to me, isn't that kind of like things that we go through in our lives, is people want to say, no, that can't be what happened, or that can't be who did it. And you're like, I don't know.
Yeah.
I've experienced it myself.
Yeah.
And this is what I'm telling you. Jesus took me this one way, and I was in this pattern, and I was in this life. But then he took me out, and he put me on a new path, and now I'm this new person.
Yeah.
So I was blind, but now I can see.
Yeah.
And it's funny. I also think he's just, I don't know.
Like, I don't know.
You know,
I don't know what he does.
I think it's cute because I can hear my pap being like that. I don't know what you're talking about, son, but I can see now. So we have it breaks off the shame. It gives purpose to the pain that we've been in. And then it builds faith. it rises faith among people. In Mark 5, we have the demon-possessed man who threw the legion of demons into the pigs and they went off to sleep. That's a whole...
I always felt bad for the pigs also. Maybe that's wrong. I was like, what the pigs do?
There's like a whole entire...
There's probably something
story
about
that I read about this.
I feel like
and
I heard something about it too.
There's those not conspiracy, but
yeah,
whatever theories and you like to look at. But that's what I went down that one time and it was interesting. But anyway, so that's not where we're going with this. So Jesus healed this demon-possessed man. And Jesus tells the demon-possessed man to go home and tell them what the Lord has done for you. And that's what he wants us to do. He wants us to go tell everybody.
Yeah.
And when that man did, the region was amazed.
Mm-hmm.
They were amazed and they couldn't deny that there was something about this man.
Yeah.
And they started following him. And then we have this little thing that happened. And
just a little thing.
Just a little thing.
Yeah.
I'm kidding. It wasn't a little thing. So you have all these people and all of these stories. As the testimonies are being told, you have faith that's rising in these people.
Yeah.
You have them coming together in faith and believing and expecting it for themselves and expecting it for others.
Yeah. And I'm thinking, like, why? Because people love to talk about other people. Why do we like to share, like, the bad things or the negative stories more than we share, like,
it's
the good
flesh.
God
we
stuff?
We love the salacious gossip of...
Yeah.
We like to hear that other people have done bad because it makes us feel good.
Yeah. But what if we try to start being like, did you see what God did over there? How amazing was that? So cool.
And I think it's because then we're expected to take a step of faith to also want that for ourselves and for others. And people struggle with that.
Yeah.
It's a struggle for people. And I think if people shared more of their stories and were more accepting of others, again, we have people who are hiding in shame. So if I have shame about something, I don't want you to point a spotlight on my shame. I'm going to point a spotlight on your shame.
Yep.
Still the devil's tactic. Point a spotlight on it yourself.
Yeah.
Tell everybody what happened and how God took you through it and brought you through it.
That was good.
Yeah, I know. Come up with some good things, right?
Once in a while.
So we have the different importance of... And these are just a couple of things, but some of the things that I wrote down is that it builds your faith, it breaks down shame, and it turns your pain into a purpose. But then I think people also struggle with, I don't have a testimony.
Yeah.
Because they think of maybe just one testimony.
And I thought that forever growing up because you usually hear the story of, oh, I was living this terrible life. I was a rock star and did drugs and drank and all this stuff. And I'm like, I grew up in a Christian house. I knew Jesus my whole life. So what kind of story is that?
And I think that's funny because you say you knew Jesus. You knew about Jesus.
Yeah. And that's
right?
the story.
Because I would say I had the same thing. Like, I knew about Jesus.
Yes. So
But I can pinpoint to a specific time where I was like, it started becoming real.
Yes. Same.
And so
but people think that, though. They think, oh, my story's nothing crazy. But
if you're a Christian, you have a testimony.
And isn't that a good testimony?
You have a testimony. It's your salvation
I was raised in church, and that's awesome. Like, what a testimony to my parents.
But then the time that I actually took it for myself would be my salvation.
Yes.
And that was my testimony.
Yep.
So there's different types of testimony. So we already established salvation testimony. Mm-hmm. You've already had it.
Yeah.
And I feel like all of these points that I'm making for testimonies, everybody has one. As you got saved, then you go through your transformative process.
Yeah.
Your sanctification.
Yeah.
And so as you break off chains and break off barriers and go
that's
through
a story
things,
every time.
Those are testimonies.
Yeah, absolutely.
I know I shared last week about things I was struggling with and being excited that I'm in the beginning of a new testimony that's being written.
You're going to have a story after this?
So I'll have a story and I will share it. But it's when habits and things are changing in our lives, you have healing that's happening. Those are transformative stories and testimonies that people need to hear because they're probably going through something similar.
And also when we think of, people love to say like how dark the world is, but if we share these stories more, look at all the light. Look at God moving. He's not distant. He's not doing nothing. He's not far away and not working in our lives constantly. So let's talk about these things more. to show, here he is and look what he's done.
And I know when I listen to sermons and the person's providing a testimony, it doesn't matter if I didn't go through the same exact situation. Like even Matt's testimony message, there were things that hit me that I may not have gone through the same exact thing, but I understand what he was going through.
Yeah. And it's still a message of hope and of salvation and deliverance and like all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's so what he already went through is the start of what I'm going through.
Yeah.
So I can look at him and be like,
absolutely.
there's my test.
Yeah.
There's my expectation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm expecting to have freedom from this.
Yeah.
And then we also have sustaining testimonies. I think your dad had a great testimony of how his faith in Jesus sustained him even through the chemo treatments, through knocking on death's door, laying in his deathbed, clutching his Bible. Like, God sustained him through that entire process.
Absolutely.
But not only that, sustained you, sustained your mother, sustained the whole family, sustained the whole church.
And all, like, he was still to the end, like, posting on Facebook, don't let this turn you away from God. He is so good. And that touched so many people. Well, like, he doesn't even know.
Even his sermon was so powerful.
Yeah.
The last sermon, I think it was one of the last sermons that he did. He was saying, not everybody gets to see the blessing of their work here on earth.
Yeah.
And he went through like the hall of testimonies, but he went through the hall of people that Moses didn't get to the promised land. Your dad was like, I'm still having faith that the things that I've started here will be completed.
Yep.
And it was great. But then I think even after that, the fact that your mother and yourself and your siblings, you guys didn't lose faith. Mm-hmm. If anything, it strengthened faith.
Yeah.
And I think that's a testament to the testimony.
Yeah.
That's how these work.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And so many people have come up to you guys and have said, oh, the strength that you've held through there.
Yeah.
I think even, again, I don't want to share anybody's testimony, but there was a mother who went through a very traumatic situation. And I think it was the death of a child for her. And she stood up on the day of the funeral and gave
a salvation message.
And was like still pointing to Jesus. And you're just like, wow, that's amazing.
And you wonder how, and it's God. Like it's,
and you see these people who go through these things and you're like, you're holding it together, and how are you doing that?
Yeah.
And they point to God every single time. So he's sustaining you and he's keeping you even though you're going through such wicked times.
Just like he said he would. Yep.
And that's a testimony that somebody needs to hear. And then we have our daily testimonies. We have our daily things that might not seem so big. I got through just a hard day.
Yeah.
I had a horrible time, or me failing as a parent, but realizing that God was still in the situation. And
we were able to pay all the bills. Yeah.
Whew.
That's God moving. Yeah.
As a miracle. You're like, there's money in the bank account. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And then that bill comes that takes it, and you're like, I had the money. That's good. But I'm just thinking of all those testimonies, and I think it's sad when people say, I don't have a testimony, or my testimony is not as big as somebody else's. And you don't need a crazy past to have a powerful testimony.
Absolutely.
You just need to have faith. Faithfulness is the testimony.
Yeah.
No matter what you went through in life.
Yep.
And I think that's what we have here on our podcast. The reason that we do a Testimony Tuesday is because we know how powerful they are. Mm-hmm. I love talking to people about their testimonies and understanding what they went through, being empathetic in those situations. Like, I can feel what they went through, and I can feel the sadness or I can feel the joy. But just seeing them talk about it and the emotions that they have, and then seeing the joy on their faces when they get to the part when Jesus met them, you know, and that's why it's so powerful, is because I'm seeing somebody who's experienced it. It's not just somebody who read the Bible, and those are great. It's somebody who read the Bible and have a revelation from us, from God. It's amazing. But I think it's so impactful to see somebody who's actually gone through it. And I can use as an example. And as I'm going through it, I can think back, There are sermons and things that I've listened to where somebody had testimony, and I'm going through it and I'm like, oh, I remember she said this, or I remember he said that. When this moment, they were slow to anger, they stopped and they said this prayer, they remembered this scripture, they did this with their scriptures.
Even seeing this isn't going to hurt forever, bad as it does right now. Like God's going to turn it around, and it's going to be
going through this time in our lives too is we see those parents who are good Christian parents who brought up solid children in faith, and we look to them and we use them as their testimonies. We use it.
Yeah.
We say, how did you do that?
Yeah.
What did you do? And they, just the way they live, like we can see how they've been.
Yeah. And even I'm teaching the kids now too, how they can be helpful to someone. Like one of Millie's little classmates just lost her pap. And I said, Millie, you went through that 2 years ago. You can tell her, hey, I know how you feel. Like if I can do anything for you, or if you need to talk. And Millie told her that. And I was like, that's really sweet to be there for people, because.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you're a better witness to people when you can come to their hurt.
You meet them where they're sitting.
And you know where they're feeling it.
Yeah. You don't even have to have the answers, just to be like, I know this sucks. This is awful. I know you're struggling to keep it together right now, but it's not always going to feel like this.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I was talking about how our Testimony Tuesdays and how we really enjoy doing it and stuff. But you do have the pushback from people being like, I don't have a testimony. And I just really want everybody to, you completely ignored everything that we said here today. I just want you to know that you do have a testimony in any situation that you're going through. Even if you think it's the smallest little thing, it might be huge and impactful for somebody else.
Absolutely.
And I'm sorry. I know we didn't get to a Testimony Tuesday in October. It is really hard to schedule and then also find people who feel like their testimony is worthy.
Yeah. But we're hoping to have 2 this month to make up for it.
Yeah.
Hoping to.
And then we are holding Matt. We're holding you to your word, and you're going to be on here to do yours too.
Sometime.
Steph has shared her testimony at church, but I would like you to actually share it with people who haven't seen it at church or seen it online. And we already know that mine's still being written, so It's my transformative. I want to give it to a nice packaged bow type situation.
What you're about to go through, I think, is going to be really significant.
Biggest breakthrough, I think.
To wait until that is in motion.
I feel like
because it's going to be a big part. I
think.
Even
even talking about it with you and then just like mentioning it here on the podcast, just even slightly, it's been freeing. And then I got to open up to Matt a little bit, and then my brothers and stuff, and it's been pretty. Yeah. It's been pretty great.
You've been more. Yeah. Open and.
But then you do have that little bit where you're like, this is going to go to the whole, it's going to go to 20 people. But if it were actually our Testimony Tuesdays, and this is another testament on how like,
they're like the most viewed videos.
They're the most viewed. Yeah. Like everybody wants to, I don't know if it's everybody just wants to hear, but
like the storytelling and it's a way to just see.
I hope there's not some keyboard warrior out there that will be like, no, it's just because you two suck. Stop. No, you like to hear the stories. You like to hear what people have to go through, and how they've survived or how God met them in the situation. But yeah, it's, oh my gosh, if I say this, I can't take it back, but it's the truth. Mm-hmm. And it's what God has put on your heart. It's what God has done in your life. Right. What if you went through this just for the situation that you could be in? You don't have to start sharing right away on a podcast or at a church. Just share it with a friend. Yeah. Share it with a friend. Share it with somebody who you think is struggling through the same thing. Let them know. Open up. Don't hold what God has done in your life, and don't share it with somebody else. When you do that, you come alongside and you become a partner with heaven in somebody else's breakthrough. Yeah. So I think it's important for you to open up and share listen to God, listen to the prompting of the Holy Spirit on where you should be sharing your testimony. Mm-hmm. I think that's something with me too, is I feel like I'm gonna have to share. I feel like it's gonna happen, and it's what I have to share is very much needed for a time as such as this. But I, again, am working on it.
In progress, yeah.
But I think you too, like when you told about your testimony, and when you get to it more, but when you've told other people, they didn't go through the same exact thing as you. I think what you went through is a little rare, but I think
but you could pull
all
pieces
share
out of it
aspects
to
of
relate
what you went
to
through.
it.
Yeah. So I think, Testimony Tuesday will be Steph and Dwayne someday. We have to put our, mouth where our money's at, or
money where your mouth is.
I'm not really good with these things, but we have to step up if we're going to tell other people to share their testimonies. And it's very short today.
Yeah.
I think if you have a testimony, don't keep it hidden. Don't let the enemy think or belittle your story.
Yeah.
Your story is very important. It's what is needed in this world. Any type of light in this dark world is needed. If it's a nightlight size testimony you think, share it. If it's a spotlight, share it. Whatever it is, anything in between, we need all of the testimonies out there just to glorify God and show everybody how great he is, what he has done for your life, and what he can do for others. So don't let what you've went through be hidden in the dark, be hidden in the secrecy. Let it be shining out there for others so that they can set their expectations when they go through the same thing, and they can see, I can make it through because this person made it through. So that's all we have for you today.
Yep.
Have a great week. Talk to you next Wednesday. Bye, everyone.
All right. Bye. Thanks, guys.